This conference will now be recorded.
Hello and welcome to the DATASMART 2020 update webinar by Long Trail Sustainability. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you all are doing well and are all safe. My name is Shelley Severinghouse and I'm the Senior Consultant here at Long Trail Sustainability. We'll be recording this webinar and we'll send out the presentation slides and a link to the recording afterwards. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into the GoToMeeting chat bar and we'll address them at the end. We'll begin today's presentation with a brief overview about us. Then we will discuss what is DATASMART, along with details about the 2020 update, which will include a live demo in CIMAPRO. We will conclude with instructions on how to submit your data to DATASMART. Our presentation is around 30 minutes, leaving us ample time for questions at the end. Here at Long Trail Sustainability, we work with organizations to integrate life cycle sustainability practices into their business conduct. Whether it is a broad spectrum approach or a focused effort geared toward product design, employee engagement and collaboration, supply chain management, brand enhancement, or beyond, we work closely with our clients and adapt our sustainability solutions to meet each one's individualized challenges and ambitions. In addition, our sustainability services encompass high-quality software tools and a comprehensive LCA training program. We are the North American distributors of the CIMAPRO LCA software developed by Prey Sustainability based in the Netherlands. We are part of their global partner network and we work closely with Prey and with our global partners. So what is DATASMART? The DATASMART Lifecycle Inventory Package is a data set we created for our North American CIMAPRO customers. This dataset was originally developed to create a North American focused dataset based on a combination of the US LCI version 1.6 and EcoInvent version 2.2 data, modified specifically to be representative of US operations. In an effort to continually provide more data, DATASMART has expanded to a larger dataset covering more regions and industries, containing data developed by us and data submitted to us by companies and researchers. Submission into DATASMART entails an extensive review of data to ensure accuracy. When first developing DATASMART, we were looking at what we could do to make a dataset specific to this hemisphere, which came down to customizing the energy mix. We then expanded on the dataset, adding more regionalized energy data, as well as special data from our consulting work and manufacturers who wanted to make their data available to their CIMAPRO customers. DATASMART is complementary to the datasets that come with CIMAPRO and can be used alongside those CIMAPRO libraries. For instance, you can use DATASMART alongside EcoInvent. DATASMART enables you to make more localized scenarios and can be thought of as a way to regionalize your LCA study. We are focusing our efforts now on utility and disposal data, along with continuing to support organizations we work with and other manufacturers and associations who want to make their data available in CIMAPRO. Notably, DATASMART data contains over 700 original datasets, including US electricity mixes for all 50 states and 10 eGRIDs at the production, high, medium, and low voltage levels, household activities including clothes washing and drying, as well as dishwashing, textile production processes including fabric treatment, cutting and sewing, and more, dairy data from the US Dairy Greenhouse Gas Carbon Footprint Project, packaging processes including recycled containerboard, corrugate, and molded pulp. The process for downloading and importing DATASMART is slightly different than a normal CIMAPRO database update, so we thought we'd take a moment to provide an overview. We provide updates at least once a year. DATASMART owners will be notified by email that an update is available and sent instructions to download the DATASMART SimaPro backup file from our website. Next, users will restore the backup file in SimaPro. This will create a DATASMART database, which you will then import into your database, or databases if you have more than one. To do so, users will open their database that you'd like the DATASMART update imported into, and then follow normal import procedures, starting by going under File, Import SimaPro Database. Note, if you open the DATASMART 2020 database directly, you will not see your projects. So you must first open your database and then import DATASMART into your database. And this is similar to SimaPro updates. We do provide detailed instructions, including screenshots, in our installation and update manual, and are available for technical support should you need any assistance. After you import DATASMART into your database, you can actually go ahead and delete the DATASMART database files and the DATASMART SimaPro backup files, as this is no longer needed because that DATASMART update data have been incorporated into your database. So getting into the 2020 update. So the DATASMART 2020 update includes 10 new processes, 76 updated processes, and 11 corrected processes, ranging from new molybdenum data, updated electricity mixes, new U.S. waste scenarios, and more. Three molybdenum processes from the International Molybdenum Association, IMOA, have been newly added to DATASMART. Molybdenum is used in a wide range of applications and sectors, including construction, oil and gas, transportation, agriculture, and medicine. With the goal of providing LCA practitioners and researchers with high-quality cradle-to-gate data to use in LCA studies, IMOA contributed the data sets indicated here. They relate to molybdenum used specifically in metallurgical applications. Molybdenum is added to steel and iron as an alloying agent to increase strength, hardness, electrical conductivity, and resistance to corrosion and wear. The three new processes are ferromolybdenum in chip form, molybdenum text oxide briquette, and molybdenum text oxide powder. These are found in SimaPro under Materials, Metals, and Non-Ferro category. A special thanks to IMOA and Landfill Gregg of 4 Elements Consulting for providing us with this new data. In the 2020 DATASMART update, we have updated the Canadian electricity for both the province and territories, as well as the country average. This is based on 2018 data from the Government of Canada that was published this year. In addition, we have updated the US electricity. So we have updated the 10 US eGRID mixes, all 50 state mixes plus Washington, DC, and the US country average. We used 2018 data from the US Environmental Protection Agency that was published in 2020. Now we thought we'd take a moment here to provide a little fun electricity trivia. So while updating the electricity mixes, we came across several interesting facts. So I'm going to ask these as trivia questions, and I'd like you, if you want to participate, to type your answer into the GoToMeeting chat bar and see how you do. So the first question here is, what Canadian province or territory has the highest wind composition? So I'll give you all a moment to think about that and provide your guess. So which has the highest wind composition? I see one guess here for Alberta. Any other guesses? Quebec, all right. So the Canadian province with the highest wind composition is actually Prince Edward Island, with 99% of their electricity coming from wind. So the next question, what US state has the lowest carbon footprint per megajoule? And we are assessing this based on the IPCC 100-year time horizon. So any guess on the US state with the lowest carbon footprint per megajoule? All right, we have Washington, we have Florida. Any other guesses here? I'll give you one hint. It is currently snowing in this state. And I know that personally. Yes, it is Vermont. So Long Trail Sustainability is based in Vermont, and Vermont happens to have the lowest carbon footprint per megajoule, followed by Idaho. All right, next question here. What US state has the highest hydropower composition? So of all 50 states, what has the highest, and we actually can include Washington, D.C. in this as well, what has the highest hydropower composition? So there's one vote here for Washington, another for Vermont. It's a good guess with Vermont. Vermont has quite a high composition for hydro. In this case, Washington is correct, with 69.3% of the state's electricity coming from hydropower. All right, next question here. What US state has the highest coal composition? There's a guess for West Virginia, a second for West Virginia, Kentucky, Wyoming. Good guesses here. Ohio. All right, so the state with the highest coal composition is West Virginia. So kudos to those who guessed that, with 92.2%. This also lands it at the highest state for climate change impacts, as well as the highest human health and ecosystem impacts. All right, last question here. What US state has the highest wind composition? So we started by the Canadian province or territory with the highest wind, Prince Edward Island. Now, what US state has the highest wind composition? This one may surprise you. There's a guess for Texas, a second for Texas. North Dakota, Oklahoma. Oh, great guesses. And you're in the right latitude here. The highest wind composition is Kansas with 36.6%. So thanks for participating in that electricity trivia. As we were building these data sets, we found these to be interesting. You'll be able to, in DATASMART, view the details of all 50 US states, Washington, D.C., the country average, the Canadian provinces, the Canadian territories, and Canadian country mix. So it's all provided in unit level data, so you'll be able to see those specific details for those data sets. All right, moving into some additional new data here in DATASMART, we added two new waste scenarios for general waste and packaging waste based on the most recent publication from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Now, overall, we saw a few percent decrease in recycling rates for all materials in both the waste scenario and packaging waste scenario compared to the 2015 waste scenarios, which are also still included. So we've been adding the waste scenarios as new waste scenarios instead of updating current ones, so that you're able to better adapt the waste scenario to your particular year of reference in your LCA study. With any waste scenario, just like with other unit level data, you can make copies and then you can further modify in SIMAPRO. So if you had more regionalized data for your particular part of the country or state or county even, you would be able to use these existing waste scenarios as a starting point, should you wish. The LTS 2019 method was updated based on the latest Recipe 2016 version 1.04, and that affects the human health, ecosystems, resources, and water consumption category. Now, this LTS 2019 method also includes cumulative energy demand and climate change. So a little background on this method, we find that these 6 categories, so it's a mix of endpoint categories and midpoint categories, we find that these are interesting and relevant to our clients, and wanted to provide it to you all in DATASMART so that you too can utilize this method, which relies on what we feel are some of the best impact categories we have, and a well-rounded method to use. Now, this method is located in the global category in methods. There were some corrections in this update as well. So the hydro and nuclear water flows for 14 Chinese textile processing system level processes were corrected, reflecting the change EcoInvent made between version 2.2 and version 3. Now, we made these corrections for all unit level data in DATASMART in last year's update, and thanks to one of our users who brought this correction to our attention for the system level processing data. So these have been corrected in DATASMART. So I'm now going to go ahead and open up SIMAPRO so we can view some of these changes directly in SIMAPRO. So I currently have SIMAPRO open already. I have a project open as well. Just like when you start any new project in SIMAPRO, you will be brought into the library section. When you have imported DATASMART, you will find it on the list here. It is named USEI 2.2. You will see that this is the DATASMART Lifecycle Inventory package, and you will see the version number and the release in the library description below. Now, this is the original name we had for DATASMART, and we have been unable to change the library name here in SIMAPRO due to SIMAPRO restrictions, but we do name it its updated name here, DATASMART, in the description. So if you'd like to use DATASMART in your project, you will check that library. We always have that methods library checked so that we can run our impact assessments. So we'll now take a look at some of these new updates in DATASMART 2020. So we will move into processes here under this inventory heading. I'm going to minimize some of these categories. So the first I'd like to point out is where our new molybdenum processes are located. So you will find those processes under metals,
Shelley,
under this. Let's hold questions if you don't mind until the end, please. But then, yes, absolutely. Thank you. So under material, you will then find the metals category and non-ferro category. You can use a filter within any SIMAPRO category so that you can shorten those lists. So the 3 new processes that you will find for molybdenum are going to be in this category. There are also some existing molybdenum processes as well, but the 3 new ones you will find here: the ferromolybdenum in chip form, the molybdenum Tex oxide briquette, and the Tech oxide powder as well. So I'm going to open up one of these so that we can actually see this data. Now, these data are system level form. So when we are on the input output tab here, you will see with system level data, we have a long list of the inputs from nature. And then if I were to scroll down, I'd find a long list of emissions to air, water, and soil. The documentation tab has very detailed information about this process and about the background LCA that was conducted. So I do encourage you all to read the comment that's included. You will also see as I scroll down here, you'll find the collection method, data treatment, allocation rules, verification, the generator, and you will find external links here to the specific reports for this study. All right, I'm going to close that process now. The next data I would like to show you is where our electricity data reside. So you will find the electricity data under the energy category, and then you will find it under the electricity country mix and production plus import. So this is where you will find that unit level data for all of the US and Canadian electricity mixes. For the US country average, you will find the date in the name. For the states, you will find more information about that in the comment. So you will find that source in the comment here. And that's true for the eGRID mixes as well. So for the eGRID mixes, I am using the abbreviation in the name here. You will see that. That's how it's been implemented. We do note what that abbreviation stands for here in the comment. So if I wanted to take a look at that West Virginia electricity, for example, that very high coal composition, I can always open and or view. So you can do that on the right side, or you can right click and then view or copy if you wanted to make modifications. So we can view that process on this documentation tab. You will find those details, the source of the data. On the input output tab is where you will find the specific details of the energy composition. So that's where you will see that 92.2% hard coal. Next, I'd like to show you the new waste scenarios. So the waste scenarios have their own category here, and then you will find a subcategory for waste USA. So the new waste scenarios are the packaging waste scenario 2017 and the waste scenario 2017. So I mentioned we are implementing these by year here instead of just maintaining one and updating it. So you can see the changes over time. So if we were to view this waste scenario 2017, we can open that up. And you can see the specific recycling rates for the materials that are reported in that US EPA report. Now, if things are not recycled or the part that is remaining, you will find they are then incinerated and landfilled. So these waste scenarios can be used in your product stage models. Next, I'd like to show you the LTS method. So you will find that method under impact assessment, methods. You'll find it in the global category. And here you will find the description, so you can view the specific details and the numbers, the version numbers that have been applied to these, to each of the impact assessment methods that we are using. Now, I noted there was a question earlier about the about cumulative energy demand and whether it was the low heating value or the high heating value. So that's something that we would be able to verify here. So within SimiPro, you can always look at a method and see the particular details. So if I wanted to verify that, I can open up the LTS 2019 method here. And we can look at the characterization, which is going to show us all of the midpoint categories. So cumulative energy demand looks at the 6 different categories for energy. So there are 3 non-renewable and 3 renewable. You can then view the specific substances that have been used to characterize that particular impact and their factor. So here I can have this LTS method open. I can look at non-renewable fossil. I can see the factor for instance, coal. I can also then keep this open, and I can actually make it a bit smaller on the screen here, and I can kind of shrink it over, and I have the ability to actually open the assessment method. So here's where, if I wanted to verify that for myself here, the default cumulative energy demand is the high heating value. Recently, the low heating value was added as well. So in the name for the low heating value, you will see that. If you do not see that, it is the high heating value. So I can open up this cumulative energy demand method. I can go to its characterization tab. I can go to this same non-renewable fossil. I can kind of shrink this over here if I'd like, if I can get it all on one page here. And then I can also open back up my other, and I will see here, I can scroll down this list that the LTS method uses the high heating value for cumulative energy demand. So that's just a tip or trick for you all. And also to answer the question, LTS method uses the high heating value for cumulative energy demand. On the damage assessment, you will find that we bring the 3 midpoints to this endpoint level so that we can see the results right alongside the 3 endpoint categories. So our 3 endpoint categories are human health, ecosystems, resources, and then we bring these what are classified as midpoint or problem-oriented impact categories, these midpoint categories, to this damage level or the endpoint level. So then we'll have cumulative energy demand, climate change, and water use right alongside those endpoints in our results. We have applied normalization and weighting. Now for weighting, we have used an equal weighting scheme. You can make a copy and you can customize the weighting scheme to whatever your organization sees is appropriate. So equal weighting means that each of these impact categories is equally important. Your organization may feel differently, and you can then apply your own weighting scheme. And that can be very helpful for internal purposes. The current ISO guidelines do not allow for showing weighted results in public comparative assertions. I will be curious if there are any modifications to that in upcoming ISO updates, but stay tuned on that. All right, now if you'd like to use the LTS method throughout your model or any impact assessment method, you can choose the method and set it as the default. This means when you use any of the shortcut icons or you set up a new calculation setup, the method will populate automatically for you. So it saves you a few clicks. All right, I am going to run one analysis here just so that you all can see how this LTS method works in practice. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to electricity, and I'm going to compare our highest and lowest electricity mixes, which for the U.S. states, which is Vermont and West Virginia. So I'm going to go ahead and run a comparison of these two. I've set that method as the default, so when I hit compare, it's going to auto-populate in the method field for me. So I'm going to compare just 1 megajoule of Vermont electricity versus 1 megajoule of West Virginia. Now I'm doing this at the production level. You certainly can look at these electricity mixes at the high voltage, medium voltage, or low voltage. Now when we're looking at industrial or manufacturing processes, we'd like to use that medium voltage. If we're looking at offices and homes, we're going to be using low voltage. So I'm just doing this at the production level. And you can see the vast difference here between our Vermont electricity and the West Virginia electricity. All right, before I move back to the presentation, I do think it would make sense to answer any kind of SimiPro specific questions in regards to DATASMART. So I do see one that has come in already. If anyone else has questions specific to how DATASMART is implemented here in SimiPro, please go ahead and type that into the chat bar. We also, at the end, I'll unmute folks so they can ask it, but for right now, we can just use the chat feature. So there's one question here. Could you please explain again what the factor refers to in the LTS 2019 method? So I'm going to go ahead and open up that method again. And I believe you're referring to when we open up a method and we're on the characterization tab here, within any particular impact category, you will find this column for factor. This factor is the characterization factor that the method uses to take the substances that it says contribute to that category and convert it into the reference substance. Right now, I'm looking at the global warming human health category. So this is measured in dailies or disability adjusted life years. So there are a number of substances here that contribute to that. And this factor is a characterization factor to take that substance, which is measured in kilograms, and convert it into our reference substance, our dailies. All right, there's another question about the filter option. So I really like to use the filter option. So within processes, within any category, you are able to use, there's a filter on the bottom. So if I wanted to just look at, let's say, Wisconsin, coming from Rick here, I can start typing Wisconsin in the filter below. And then I don't even need to finish typing the name, and the refined list will be above. Now, if I wanted to use two different filters, so Wisconsin, and I wanted to make sure that it was, let's say, electricity, I could, it's not going to further filter this in this case, but I can use more than one. So you can do an and, you can also do an or. While we're on the topic of filters, so you can do that within categories, there's also the ability to check show as list. Now watch when I do this. You will see all categories are going to disappear. And now I do not need to know what specific category the process is found in. So now if I wanted to see all processes that have Vermont in the name, I can type Vermont and then the list will appear above. So this can be extremely helpful if you don't necessarily know what category or process is found in. So it's just checking this show as list. From there, if you say, oh yes, this is the one I'd like, you can then uncheck show as list, and you will then be brought to the category where that electricity is found. In this case, electricity is found, or that process is found. All right, another question came in. Is DATASMART still based on EcoInvent 2.2, not 3? That is correct. So EcoInvent is, we're still using the 2.2. We do not have any plans to base DATASMART on EcoInvent 3. So we are maintaining with EcoInvent 2.2. On that note, I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar that DATASMART was originally created using this EcoInvent 2.2 and USLCI 1.6 with modified energy applied. So every few years we do update that energy mix that then is applied to all of that data. So we will have plans in the coming years to continue to do that. All right, moving back to the slides here. If you are interested in having your data in DATASMART for other practitioners to use, the process is simple. The first step is to complete and send us our submission form, which contains your contact information and details about the data set. As a data provider, you must gather the necessary data consisting of process inputs, outputs, and emissions. Datasets should be consistent, transparent, and available for our review on the unit level basis. Now, you can choose to have your data published in DATASMART as system level data though. So we can support you in doing that, but we would want to review that unit level data. The next step is sending us your data in SimaPro CSV format. We'll then review the dataset to ensure quality and check for errors or inconsistencies within the dataset. Once all reviewers are satisfied, the dataset will be accepted for publication and will be included in the next DATASMART update. You will be visible as the author in the dataset. You also have the option to remain as anonymous should you choose to. So please be in touch if you would like to have your data submitted into DATASMART. We would like to let you know that we have developed demo recordings for SimaPro, the world's leading LCA software trusted by industry and academics worldwide, as well as SimaPro Collect and Share, a web-based platform that are intended to help facilitate data collection and to leverage LCA results to non-LCA experts to business users. So if you're interested in actually seeing how these tools work, I recommend that you watch our demo recordings. We are then available to set up a call or web meeting to discuss any particular questions you have. We offer customized LCA training. So if you're struggling with a particular aspect of your LCA, like using parameters, or perhaps you would like help customizing an impact assessment method or guidance how to structure your model, we can help. Our one-on-one training is a very cost-effective way to get the knowledge and skills that you need. In addition, we offer regularly scheduled online classes. We have certificate programs where our courses are organized into particular learning objectives. And these courses range from introductory all the way through expert practitioner levels. Our 2021 training calendar is live, and we are happy to answer questions that you may have regarding training. We have teamed up with our partner Prey Sustainability, the developers of SimaPro, to share with you the basics and our best practices for managing your data in SimaPro. So this webinar is going to take place on December 8th. It is titled SimaPro Data Management Basics and Best Practices, and we will send along registration details. So we hope you will join us for that webinar. We know this is a very popular topic, so we do recommend that you register early, and that information and webinar will be available on the SimaPro Help Center afterwards. So I'd like to thank you all for your time, and we can open it up again for questions. If we don't get to your question during the webinar, please email us at support@ltsexperts.com, and we will be sure to reply to your question. But go ahead now, if there are any particular questions that you all have, you can either chat, or if you would like to unmute, I'm happy to unmute you all so that you can ask your question that way.
I should have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Rick.
Regarding when you open up the SimaPro, there was the U.S. equivalent 2.2, but it's also the U.S. LCI database that was located there as well, but you only clicked on the equivalent 2.2, I think.
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
Is there, I guess I maybe want to understand a little bit more why. Is that because the current database there, US LCI, is an older version? Is that why you didn't click on it? You just clicked on the 2.2 of US equivalent?
So in DATASMART, which is here as USCI 2.2, we have included the US LCI version 1.6. We have filled in that version, and actually continuing in later versions here in US LCI, there are a number of what are called dummy processes. Now, this is called out directly in the library description for US LCI. what we were finding is that many users were not actually filling those dummy processes with proxies, which were leading to their results having fewer impacts than they should have. So what we have done in DATASMART is we have filled those US-LCI dummy processes with proxies. And so that's why here I have only checked DATASMART and am not using it along the US-LCI. You certainly can. I would just be very mindful when you are using the US-LCI to go ahead and fill those dummy processes.
Okay, got it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions that we can help answer today? All right, well, hearing none, thank you again for your time today. We hope you have enjoyed the webinar. Please stay in touch and stay safe.